I would want us to, maybe after today's class, have some kind of things to do, like some things to work on. So if you don't mind, I would, do a refresher for what we've done so far for Power Apps. And what I would want us to do would be for us to be able to set up at least, a SharePoint database like we did before. Also to build our first Microsoft flow, and then use the database SharePoint way to set up our first application. Remember what I told you, this application we can add more features on it, but then as it is now, good to go. Because once you have set up your database as it is, Power Apps does half of the job for you by popping out, using the information from the database to pop out an application for you that you can now be able to fill out the remaining spaces that you think you need to fill out. So if it's something that you need to, use the way you want to use it that way, you can actually start using it. But then it wouldn't, look nice, and the look and feel of it will not be good. But then it's also or the skeletal setup is already there, something that you can easily use if you want to use. So by the end of the class, what I want us to achieve today is to be able to at least say that we can do 3 of these things. Even if we do 1 of it, I would say I'll count that as a progress. Anyone you can do within the 3. But then if you can do 3 over 3, then you are a super learner. I think you are learning very fast. So let's go and complete this thing. Remember the last thing I was trying to say? So due to pull from the SharePoint, these things will come out like this because that's basically what the engine is trying to do. It's trying to understand what we want to do. So it will do the job as much as you understand. It's not left for us to, like somebody wants to paint a house, or somebody wants to, what we are doing now is to paint and add accessories to the house, furnish the house. The skeletal structure of the house, the foundation, the roofing, and, the body work done. Now left for us to, paint whatever color we want, and also, add the features. We want the kitchen to, be in any kind of color, what kind of appliances we want. That's basically what we want to do there. Now, this is an option. There's another option for you to start doing all of these things from the scratch. If you don't want to, hand over the foundational process to the engine, you can do all of these things for the start by yourself, depending on what you want to do. If what you want to do is set out for you, you can just come in and not start from data. You start from blank. When we are setting up this application, we started from data because we have the data, and the engine took over from where we instructed it to do, and then be able to say, oh, this is the data structure they have, and this is what I think they want to do. That's basically what the engine did. But we can actually avoid doing that if we know what we want to do. For example, this thing is in the landscape form. If we don't want to give with all of these extra barb, if you want to go straight forward to just creating an application, let's say a scanner application where maybe you just want people to pop in, you don't mind about all of these structures, you can actually just do it by yourself. And when you do that, it's easier because you're going straight to the point. You're focusing on functionality. So again, I'm clicking on 2 things now. When I click on the first column, this is just basically the same column that we created in SharePoint. So this is the same columns appearing here. So now I'm clicking on 2 things, which is some mistake that you might not understand first time when you're trying to do this. So the first column I click is like this. Let me click it again so you see this guy. You see, there are like 3 things in this same space. So you have to be very careful, where you place the mouse for you to be able to say, okay, this is what I want to click. So look at what I just clicked. You see where the mouse, the word is being highlighted. This is the column. Now within this column, which acts like an envelope for some of the other details that are inside of it, if you open it up now, this is what you're going to see. See, this guy is this guy. So if you open it up, you have some other what's called child items in it, and these things have use cases. So I need to be very careful with it. That's why I need to explain it properly, because if I just go on and click on do what I want to do, for the first timer, if you come here, you'll definitely be confused, because then you just click on something, the same thing I thought I clicked, but then you will not know there's an underlying value that I clicked on. This is the actual thing I edited, this guy, right? But if you didn't pay attention, you might not know. So let me go through one after the other. On this is a single column. All the columns have all of these side items, right? All of them attributes of every column that you see. Some columns might be, they might respond to certain with this is the type of column that you're dealing with. Now, star visible. This thing is here because if you want to identify a column, you can use this guy. It's just like I said, that's basically what it is. You see here, it's not visible. You can either turn it on and use it, something like that. And this is an error message. If you want to display an error message per column, right? That's when this thing comes into play. That's a property that's attached to every column that will house error messages. That's what this thing does. Now, this is the one I went to edit. On this one, this is the one that houses the value of the column, right? So if I go under here, I will do whatever I want to do. So before that, you see, this is the name of the column, the name of that column. So I can actually edit the name of the column outside of the database. If I edit it now, it allows me to change what is within the database. See, I can change it. What's in the database is a parent on the name. That's what's coming from the database. But then I can change it to whatever I want within the Power Apps space. Now this is coming from SharePoint. It's pulling from SharePoint, but I can change it here. Why this is important is sometimes when you're working, the name coming from the SharePoint might be long. It might be too long. You want something to be snappy. You want people to be looking at it and they will understand what they are seeing. Other times, the way SharePoint might come up, you would want to name the columns in a certain way, because you don't want any issues with column names and all that. So you can name it with all the words together and all of that. I wouldn't want to name it that way within the app. I'm just telling you the real life application of using this kind of thing. So when it comes up and the column name is somehow not making sense, grammatically, you can actually come here and update it. That's the use case. So let's go to our data value. So within this data value, which we want to remember, this is a person column, and the engine is automatically picking the claim. This claim comes with the person column. So, but we don't want to use the claim. We want to use another attribute within the column. See, it's on claim, right? So what do we want to use? We want to use the person's display name. This is the display name because I already did it for this guy. So you can use display name. So now if you want to use department, you can use department. I'm not sure if I set out department for this. So department will not work. If I set up the department, you will see it pop up, right? If I use department now, had even I've done a setup for department, this department will really come up. But since I've not done a setup for department, if I pick department, you see that it's empty, so it's not working at all. But I want to do for display name. I'll go on display name. And I'll change this part to person because we are dealing with a person. And that is it. Changed. So we'll do the same thing for this guy. So you see this guy, what are we going to change? We're not going to change on the column. We are going to change. We're not going to change on the name of the column. We are going to change on the value of the column, right? And you see exactly selects this guy within that column, right? That's the same thing. See the column, see the name, and see the value, and select the value. So you go on a D, and you pop in display name. If you want to use email, you can use email. Yeah. So search field is for you to use email, do your searches. This is column and email pops in. Okay. So if there are images within the profile, if you select it, that image will also pop in when you are, when you are searching, you see maybe you are doing a drop down, you see list of names and all that. Sometimes you want to keep it simple, you just allow just to display them. Other times you have the option to add the email, you have the option to add the secondary text, maybe you want to add their department, then you want to add their pictures. All of those things are just fanciful, just how you want the app to look, the look and feel. That's basically how you want to do it. And that is that. So now you see it looks a bit cleaner than before, but within here, we can still do more work. So what kind of work can we do? Now look at this app. Let me play in play mode. Remember, if you want to preview the app while you are building, you can actually come here and preview it. See how it looks while you are still building. So you see, it looks a little bit clean, but then it's still not where it's supposed to be, because when somebody is coming on this app to use this app, they might get confused because everything is modeled up together. So there's a way for you to actually add more features here. You can actually add lines and headers here, so that you can actually point people to where they should, go to. Now, if I can put headers here and categorize these things to maybe employee info, I put a header for employee info, and all of everything that is related to employee info will be within a certain space. We can do that. Now, if I want to put in what's it called, departments, for example, department details, or any kind of subheading that we think will categorize the data we already have here, that is something that you can use to kind of make things in a certain way. But aside from that, the app is good to go. You can come in here to say, oh, for you to add new. Okay, see, the new form is already open. So let's try to add a new record. Employee phone. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And date of birth is okay. Location is Abuja. When is the person starting? The person starting next Monday. And who is the employer? Remember, in our database, basically, it's just me. That's why you see just me popping up. If you had other, guys within a company, all of them will show up here, so you can pick whoever it is you want. And you have the HR manager. So this HR manager, remember, I picked this email. I can't remember now why it's coming out this way, so I would check it. And then employee email. This is the email I shared the first time. See, oh, this is his employee's email. What other? The employee himself, you can actually get the employee email from the person's column, right? This is the first one we set up in order to, I was trying to explain something to you. Now, if you don't want to use this guy, you can go ahead and use this email within this claim. Once you put the name here, it's same thing, the email will be attached to it, since it's a person's column. But then this is just a test column, and this test column, you can decide to, it depends. So if there are times you can decide to use claims, and I'll let me explain that now. So in a situation where the person is not part of the organization, so you can use the person's email. In this case, if this person has not, been onboarded completely within there's no setup for him, then the person does not have, his information within the system. So it will make sense to have, the person input the email manually, right? So in this case, you can just say, let's say John Doe at gmail.com. So have they passed their safety? No. And what is their role? I would say, let's say safety manager. And who is the HR personnel managing this person's case? Remember, it's the person pulling in from the internal database. You can select somebody from here. And then this attachment is for you to add maybe what is this person's file. Any file that you want to add, let's say the person's CV, for example, then you can add, right? Let me see if we can add something. Let me use this. Okay. And that will be that. So let me send it over. See. Now, The next thing you want to do, this is when this is what I want you guys, you have to think as a developer now, what do you think your users want? That's why you have, multiple versions when you create an application. You want to know, get feedbacks on what people would want, and then, you have a new version, right? So now I've sent this in. If you notice something, and I'll throw this in as a question so that I know if you guys are following. What do you think at this stage of application, what application needs? At least you've seen something now. There is something that usually you are supposed to see when you're dealing with an application, like if you're filling a form. I'm sure did not happen here. So if you guys can, raise your hand, let me know if you can, if you get what any person at all that, has anything. It might not be the same thing. Anything that you think at this stage that is happening. Somebody sent something to the chat. Guys, does anybody want to answer? Submit button. This is the submit button. See, this guy, that submit button is marked as good. Let me show you. If I put it into new now, it's going to, this is, what is it called? This is, I explained something about form having different forms, different look, and different way that it appears. Now, this is a display form. This is one form, but it's displaying. Why? Because we cannot edit this. Once we click on this edit button, it changes into a different kind of form that allows you to edit. You understand? Now, let me click on it. You see the submit button? It's just marked load. I can go ahead and this is also a good point. This is what the engine picks. You can change it, and we can change it and turn it to what's it called? A submit button, so that it's more elaborate or something like that. If you want to work on that, good. But it kind of fits into the theme of the app, how minimalistic it is. That's why the engine uses just a single good man to represent the submit button. So we actually have a submit button. So there is something I think that maybe one big, okay, good. So do you have anything you want to point out? There's something I think is very obvious that we are keeping. We see it in every app, but it's not here. And that's something I want us to, think about. You need to be in that mode for you to be able to identify that, oh, as a developer working on this application, I usually see these things on an application, but I don't see it working on this one. No, we actually went back. Once you submit, it goes back. Yes, remember it's a one screen app. It closes. This is basically the front page of the app. If you have multiple pages now, you can say okay, it's because it's multiple pages, but it's one single page. Reset, it automatically resets. That's the reason why the form changes to a different kind of form. So when you add the new form and you click send, it did not it kind of resets into the another form of whenever you submit. I think with the word, okay, maybe go ahead one more time. I will be calling them at this stage because I want us to be engaging. Sign up, no, not sign up. All right, Faye, are you with us? Let me see if you have something to add to it. Thank you. I've actually tried. Damn it, did. Hello, all right, are you there? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay, good. So what do you think? What do you think is missing from my form? I just want us to be able to think within that scope that, okay, as you are developing, you have to think of what the users would need. You understand? That is what, helps you, find out features that can add. Also, feature can also be added by the time the app is already in production. People can come up and say, oh, we need this thing. And you add it and you add it as a second version of the same app. It happens. But at least you need to add the basic. And what I'm talking about is really, really basic. Anyone? Okay, so let me go ahead and explain. So when I sent that form, the form went through and did not give me any feedback. It was successful, but I didn't receive any feedback. And that feedback is very, very key because some people might be expecting or might be looking at the screen, expecting to get some feedback on whatever is happening with the form, and they wouldn't catch when the form submitted. So there is what we call on success. Let me show you. On success, it comes with every form. Once you add a form, you will have that within your form to set up. If you set it up, let's see, on success. So what this thing means is that what do you want to put out there if there is a successful submission of a form? Successful submission of a form. Good. Notification. It's in-app notification. You want to be able to say, oh, carry people along. Now, this particular notification is on success. Now, there is another one on reset. Do we need to communicate to our users when the app reset? In our use case, I don't think we need to. On failure, do we need to communicate to them on failure? Definitely we need to, because they might be trying to send the form and the form did not complete. So how do we configure all of these things? I think Denke is typing. Let's give him time. Denke, what do you have for us? On select, let me look at that. Oh, on select is, I think on select, let me explain what on select means. So if I select this guy, see this guy is selected because we have the select thing on it. If I select this other one, so let me put it in mode, sorry, so that in play mode. So this guy is selected. If I click on this other one, this guy is selected. Click on this other one, this guy is selected. So what is making this form to know which record to display? It's on select. I'm answering Denike's question. If I did not set up the on select of this form, how will this form know whose record to display? You understand? The record is changing. Whenever you click, these are two different things. Remember, these are two different items within the app. On select informs the form on whose record to show. This is a form and this is a gallery. They're not the same thing. So if you come in here and click, okay, anything, financial analyst, and the form picks it up. What the form is using to pick it up is the function of select. It's saying on select of this item, display it within here. And I'm going to show you now so that you guys see how that works. Can see on select. This is gallery, right? So look at what I'm saying. Update context. This is a variable, and we're going to talk about it. If item is selected, right? If item selected is true, that means if any item here is being selected true, then updates this variable with this item. This item is basically the record. Remember when I explained something about this item? You can point to any record using this item. So that's basically what happens here. So then we can go over to the form and see how the form receives item. Gallery. This is the name of this gallery, dot selected. So you go over to the gallery and say, when an item is selected, right, display this item, which is basically the record. Now you go over to the form and say, when gallery 1 is selected, use it as the information to display on the item. The form, one thing I need to tell you about the form functions differently from the gallery. The function of the form is to display records, but the form cannot display two records at the same time. That's when you see item being just one thing, and it's allowing you to define what will be within that item, right? So, but within the gallery, you have multiple items because the gallery can hold records. It's supposed to display, lots of records. While if you select this form, the form is supposed to display one single record. So I've had an issue where I wanted to display multiple records at the same time. Multiple records at the same time within a form. It's almost impossible to do, but there's a workaround for that. You want to select something here, and you want what's it called? You want the form to display something. You can even add another form by the side so that that form would display some part of what you want the form to show, while this other one shows another thing. You can work around for that. But then one form cannot display more than one item. That's why you see we have a column for item and then the specific instruction for which item to show. So in this case, we are specifically instructing the form to show any item within the gallery that is selected. I think that's pretty straightforward. All right. If there's any question, please let's entertain before we go ahead. Guys, do you have questions? Okay. Now, let me go to the next page. This is the form, and we're talking about, setting up the notification for when the form is successful. So let's see. Come to unsuccess. So in this case, update current item with last submit. When we know what last submit is. Last submit is the actual record you are submitting, the last submit of the record you are submitting, the last information, let me use it that way, that you want to submit. That's basically called last submit. So you are saying current item will be equal to self.last submit. That is referring to the form because we are in the form. And whenever you see self, it's referring to whatever, whatever thing you are dealing with, whatever, what would I call it? Whatever item you are dealing with, whenever it is self dot, it's referring to itself. So this is if edit mode is false and new mode is false, so it will refer to last submit. Now, in this case, we can actually, let me look at the other option as well and see what is there on failure. So you see the notification, right? This notification is this one is the easiest. Let me even use this for that unsuccess so you can see what I mean. Okay. So go to, this is pretty straightforward. Had it been in failed, you would have seen this notification pop up. And I wouldn't want us to, let me not complicate the issue for us so that we understand what we are saying. So if you want to comment out, you can use the double forward stroke. Now, how do you do this? If you want to put the notification on successful, that is when it's successful, push out this notification. Remember, this is for notification error. You can actually change this to what you want it to be. Perfect. Can you see? You close your bracket, and then we can change the message within it. Say cannot save. Please check if there are any errors. So we don't want that. You can say saved. I'm just making things up, so it could be anything. Remember, because this particular thing is with success, so it's definitely going to work here. And we're going to save, and then we're going to fill another form and see what happens this time. Okay. Or let's not go too far. Let's just make an edit and save. It's the same thing. So instead of worry here, we can say worry. Now this is submit button like Zenica was asking before. That's in this shape. You just have to click it again. Pay attention. See, this is the notification that was missing before. See it pop up. Had it been this is an error message, it would be in a red, what's it called? A red color, to catch attention. Green, because we use success. Successfully saved. Thank you. So now, as a user, it's more interactive. You know that, okay, the system is talking back to you, and you can move on with what you are doing because the information has been saved. So, guys, I think this this is basically what we're looking for. We've completed this application, but then we can actually do the next thing I want us to do. I find it difficult going ahead to do that because I wanted us to come along with me while I do that, and that would be why I would need us to start doing something by ourselves. So how can we solve the issue of developer account, or even if you want to get the free trial account, that one they will request for you to set up your bank details and all that. Because I really want us to get involved. I want to, by the next time we're doing this, I want to see people, do this by themselves so that we can see what you can do, and then if there are mistakes, we can correct ourselves. You understand? Because I can keep talking and talking and talking, but then if you're not doing, if you're not learning, that just believe me, that's how the setup is. That's how anything in life is. Once you want to learn, you have to do it. So can we talk about how we need to set this thing up? If you're comfortable, what I can assure you now is that if you're comfortable with the trial account, which basically lasts for 1 month, and you have your data, it's for $10. It's called Microsoft Business Basic. You can do it on your own. But if you need help, you can reach out to me within the week and I'll set it up for you as well. But then that Microsoft Business Basic, the only thing with Microsoft Business Basic is that you have all of those applications, but you can only have access to them online. Like you do not have access to them on the desktop form. That's the only difference with having a full-blown license. But then to start, they give you a 30-day free trial. So you can actually do the 30-day trial if you want. Start with that and see if you want to continue with that. This is what I'm using, and you can see I'm using it for my personal use case. Okay, I'm talking about you getting a license for you to be able to do what all of this. And I want us to. Well, I'm saying all of this because I want to give out some assignments that I want us to do together. So I know a lot of people might not have access to Power Platform tools, and I'm talking about how licenses to get it. That's what I'm talking about. So if you have access to Power Platform, maybe from your work or your school account, good, you're fine. I can actually give out the assignment today and expect you to return it. But for those who don't have, I'm looking at ways that we can, get them on board. That's just what I'm talking about. So I don't know who else has an access. Who else has an access? I know Benga definitely have access to Power Platform. Aside him, I don't know who else. Maybe can work or anywhere. If you have access to Power Platform, then you can do this without, using any more like that. Oh, okay. Fair point. That's the problem. Yes, that's the thing with SharePoint. Okay, do you mind us doing this within Dataverse? I think you guys should have Dataverse. If you don't have SharePoint, you have Dataverse. Do you want us to do this within Dataverse when we can try Dataverse? I think that would be fun because we did with SharePoint, and I think yes, you can have, if you have a developer, can you have Dataverse? So I think it will be fun for us to try this within Dataverse. So let me we'll have like a couple of you. Let's see if we can set up Dataverse at least. Some of you can do that as well. And setting up Dataverse is very easy. Let me go to our SharePoint first of all. So you can do the same exact thing. You don't need to go back. The only thing with Dataverse is that a lot of what is found in Dataverse, a lot of what is found in there's SharePoint icon there. Missed it. A lot of what is found in Dataverse is quite different from what we are doing now. And to set up these few columns in Dataverse is very easy. So this is our conversion. So there are people who have access to SharePoint can, and people who have access to, you see the last ones we had, the last corrections we made, and the last updates we made. Yeah. This is basically what we added. So in our Dataverse, this is what we can do. If you have Dataverse, I can actually send this exact thing to you so that you can set it up. Right? If that's okay, I can export these and send it to you. use so that you can use the what's it called? You can use the schema to set up your database, or else you can set it individually if you want. What the first here is. I don't know if it will allow me. Will it allow me to send file across? It's not allowing me to send the file. So what we can do is, so let me duplicate the screen and just show you how to do it instead. Okay, let's go back to Power Apps. I'll duplicate the screen. Okay. Remember, if you want to go to database, anywhere you see tables within Power Platform is database, right? So you click on it. So I think this is one of the first things we did. I'm not sure if you guys will remember. At the time we set up a database table, one of the first times, that's what we did. So it's asking you, how do you want to, create your table, right? So there are so many ways we can use to create these, and these are like system ones. These ones are here originally. Once you set up database, they come in automatically to it. You can start with a blank table. You can start with Copilot. I think during the Power Platform user event, we did the Copilot thing, if you remember. So what I was trying to do was to download that CSV. It would have been very easy for you. In fact, I'll find a way to send it, maybe via email. That would be the easiest thing. So you can come here and, upload the CSV file from that SharePoint, and the entire thing pops up. You understand? That will be easy for you. But then I will show you how you can create manually, so that, even if this does not work for you, I'll drop that file. But even if this file using the .csv does not work for you, you can actually start from blank and build. So let's jump into it.
Sorry, excuse me. Do you want us to replicate the app you just created, or you're giving us a new one to create?
No, it's not the app, sorry, it's the database. Right? The database. So the information I want you to do is to be able to eventually to recreate the app. If you want to recreate something else, nice. I just want you to be able to build your first application. This is one part of the assignment. The second part of the assignment is to build a database, which is something I'm trying to show now. And the third part of it is to, build your first flow, which I think might be a little bit tricky for people who have not done it before. But for the first time, I don't expect everybody to get all 3/3, correct. But then if you do one, good, two, good, three, fantastic. But I want us to get our hands dirty. That's basically what I'm saying. You understand? So this is the first layer. This is on database now. We're on database to create a column. This is new column. We're asking you to create a column, right? But if you have access to SharePoint, we've already done SharePoint. I think we did SharePoint 2 times. We did this one. I don't mind refreshing it. And this is one part of the assignment, creating the database. Remember, we started from creating the Office database, right? I want us to be able to, try these things out ourselves before we now continue. There are so many things we can do within Power Platform. There are so many things, solutions we can add. In fact, before the end of the class, I can show you something I'm working on recently. So why I try doing that is, this is something I'm working on personally. But why I try doing that is because I want to engage your mind so that you know what is possible within the Power Platform. There's tons of things we can do. Within what I think we did within these few days, we just set up a database, which we did. That database is not really is not a mode that it must be for one application. You can use that database for other things, like we did for like you seen when we did the birthday thing. It's the same database we used. So database is not, oh, it's a mode that this database is for HR onboarding. No, we just named it HR onboarding because we're intending to use it for the application HR onboarding. But everything you are building will require a database. We need to pull data from somewhere, right? So that is one of the first things you have to do. And I'm saying a lot of people do not have access to SharePoint, but you have access to database, so database, right? So why don't we do this in database? And the only thing that is different is that in database, some of the things that we are doing in SharePoint, some of the functions, the same way we call or refer to a function, might be slightly different. And I want us to see that. We can only see that if we're able to set up something like this. You understand? So I can actually use the CSV from the SharePoint to set this thing up. I can connect the SharePoint to the database and you see it pop up here, right? I think I can, let me try that first because that was the first thing that came up. Let's see it connect to SharePoint list. So let's click on SharePoint list. Let's give it some time. So due to have access to SharePoint, SharePoint is already connected and it's giving me the two different sites that I have. So I can click on one of the sites, and this is the only table within the only list within that site. So I'll click that and say import. I expect it to do everything by itself. It's that easy. But then if you're learning, using some of the easy features will be, it would not be good for you. This is all it's asking me now to whether to save and exit, the same name. I can do save and exit. So asking again. So what would I want you to do? I would want you to create your own, one by one. I will show you definitely after this. I'll just maybe create a new table and add a few more columns on it so that you see how that will happen. And then you can do it on your own. So once you be able to set up the database table, you've solved one of the assignments. So there might be an error. Self-equal table. Let's see why. Okay, employee email. Oh, some of the tables they're not coming on.
But listen, I don't even have access to this environment at all.
So I have, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everybody have access to this. First of all, do you have access to Power Platform at all?
Yeah, work.
At work. If you have access to Power Platform at work, that means you should have access to SharePoint as well. Do you?
Yeah, I have access to SharePoint.
So if you have access to SharePoint, you don't need to come here. If you want to learn this one, you have access to it already. Let me show you. If you come to this screen, anywhere you open any time you open what's it called? Power Apps, right? Come here, you see what they call table. That's database. That's the platform I was on. See, that's this thing. That's how I got there, right? This is what we were working on before last weekend. See, if you click here, anywhere you see this column, you see it in most Power Platform tools. Once you come inside, this is the first thing I'm going to see. And you see them. Once you click on them, it takes you to the database. They don't call it the database, but that's what it is. You understand? So you have access to it. If you need help finding it, I'm just showing you now. But I'm saying I wouldn't advise you to jump into doing. You can even do the two. First of all, take your time to set up a table within SharePoint. Then you set up what's it called, the database as a second option. Why? It helps you to see how both works. The difference between setting the both up. Both are databases that you can use. You understand? So you have access to it. So the only people that I think I really need help are people who maybe are not working, they don't have any student account, and they also do not have the trial account as well. So if you have a developer account, you have access to that. What you do not have access to is SharePoint. So you can actually use it as it. Let me try now to see if it's working. Do I need try to? I don't think I need it. An error occurred while saving. Identifiers cannot match existing objects named. Just of type into the same name or already exists. Okay, that's our first one we already created. That's why it's not saving. So let me change the name. Okay. This is basically the data we have from SharePoint. I need to change the name of this table. Remove. Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay. Just find my key.
I have a question. No, my hand has been up.
Oh, sorry. No, I really have not been looking at the chat. Go ahead, please.
It's okay. So I have two questions actually. The first question is, do we have a person data type in Dataverse? You know, when we're creating the database in on SharePoint, we used the person data type. So I wanted to ask if we have that type of data and data type in database.
Yes, we
Also,
have. Let
okay.
me show you. We have. I really need to. I don't know if we can find old videos that we did. I think I talked about this on our first or second class. I am very sure I did. If you don't see it, then maybe our Power Platform user week that day we did the Power Platform user events. I'm very sure I talked about it that day.
So this okay.
After this interview, I just want to show you what the question you asked.
Okay.
So now I'm setting up a new table, right? And it's asking me that where the blue mark is to rename the table. So let's say I name this table let's have onboarding 3 because we have 1 and 2 already in my system. Good. And what is my new column? So new column is basically, it's asking because it's the key column that you want to add. So this is the name of the column. So what do we name this column? Just name it name. It's a single line of text. And this is where you are talking about data type. This I just have to do this for you so that you see. So you see all the data types that you have.
Yeah.
So within tests, you have many options within tests. I think I explained this, but it's okay that you brought it in now so we can refresh it again. So within tests, you have plain text, you have text area. These things have different use cases. You have the email if you want to just collect email. You have phone number, you have sticker symbol. Sticker symbol is if you want to indicate something within the group, maybe if you want to indicate that something is changing from where it was before, basically.
Yeah.
So you have URL and you have plain text. So plain text and plain text here are different because this one is under multi-line. So if you want to, multi-line is when you can add more than one line.
Okay.
So the number of characters for multi-line is much. If I click on it now, we can see the number of characters that's permitted is a lot more than the number of characters permitted within a single line. Now, if you go to number, this is a different type of numbering that we can see. You see, date and time have their own. Now, choice, we done choice, and then there's currency. Now, lookup column. Lookup column. Lookup column is you looking up to a certain table, and this is where this thing comes in. What's it called? This is where what's it called again? This is where the person column you are talking about comes in. Now you want to look up because Dataverse works in a different way. We already have user table. That's how Dataverse works. The user table we are creating by ourselves within SharePoint is referring to what's it called again as well? The address book that has everybody in the organization. But this one already has it within this database. It's there. So you just have to look up to it. So reference it within your new table. That's basically how that functions. So let's see what this guy is saying to us. Where is it? Let me add semicolon and see if that works. Good. Related table. So this is a table that we already created, right? That you can say, okay, let me pull from it. Now, if you have a table that has all the users' names within the system, if you can now refer to it and you pull it from here, right? And that is the same thing. So if you've not created a table that has, remember, this is my system will be difficult to see everything because it's not a developer account. If it's a developer account, you see all of those details because Microsoft would have, created it automatically for you. I think maybe we can, to describe how this functions, maybe we can use Wenga's system to just show it since he has a developer account so that you understand how it works. It's there. I just need to set it up, which I've not set up. That's why you won't see all of the other tables lining up here. So if I have a table called user table now, that it pops up here and I can just select it. And that's how you add a person column here, basically.
Okay.
So you understand? So I think this is something that we can do so that we can wrap up, and any other person who cannot do it, if you want to reach out to me for us to any direction, I can do that for you. But I don't want you within our next class to also be talking about, oh, you can do this, you can do this. I want you to get your hands dirty, come up to me and say, okay, this is where you're stuck, and then we'll rectify it.
Okay, so my second question is,
okay,
for the trial accounts. So after the trial expires, what happened to the account?
For the trial account, before you even sign up for it, you add your detail, your bank detail. I remember I told you that for that Microsoft Business Basic, it's $10. So if you add your bank details at the end of the trial account, they are going to inform you that they will soon start charging you. If you want to cancel it, you cancel it. That's that. If you want to go ahead with it, you can go ahead with it. But what I would suggest for you, if you don't have access to the developer account, you don't have access to what's it called? You don't have access to the student account, you don't have access to work account. That is an option you can use. You can decide to run it for 1 month. And if you have $10 for another month to do, you can cancel at any time once you have done with what you're learning. Now, what this one does for you is that it has both SharePoint and the Power Platform applications in it. So you have options whether to use Database or to use SharePoint. That's
so that you will still have access to the account, just that there won't be suspicion on it if you decide to cancel.
Yeah, if you decide to cancel, you can, but whenever you want to, reactivate it, it's just something you can reach out to them and reactivate it.
But you can still use the account for as long as you want to.
Yes, but then once the trial is over, you have to pay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't want to pay and you're canceling, you can still use the account.
Oh no, you cannot. Once you cancel it, you will not.
Like, you can't use the account for anything, any other thing.
No, what you are paying is to have access to the account. That's what you are paying for. If you say you don't want to pay, why would they allow you to have access to it?
No, I mean, like, when I took the Microsoft Power Up course, so the account that was created for us, I still have access to it, and which is what I'll be using.
Is it a developer account?
Yes.
So if you have a developer account, I said you don't have any problem because you can use the access.
I know. I'm just asking, like, so I still have access to the account. I can still use it to do whatever I want to do. Just that I'm limited, right? I have restrictions. So now, if you're creating a trial account, what I'm asking is, even after you cancel the subscription, right? Can you still use that particular email to sign into your Power Apps for other things?
Oh, it's not understand. So what you need is any email. It must not be that email. And I'm not sure whether they will accept that because you already use that email to create a developer account. And I think it should work. It's not something I know, it's not something I've tried. But in order to play safe, you can use another email. Well, creating email is very simple. What you just need is an email, any kind of email. Or this one you're looking at, I use Gmail to set it up. You understand? So if you want to play safe, you don't want to have two issues when you are trying to log in your time, so that you have, if you want to log into the developer account, you use email. If you want to log into your trial account, you use email. I think that makes more sense.
Okay. Thank you.
As well. Dami, do you have any question? All right, so you have any question before we wrap up? I really want us coming back next week to have something on our hands. So if you have problems setting this up, just let me know so that I would guide you through. Anytime within the week, you can reach out to me.
I
I
thought
think
you wanted to walk.
Hello?
I thought you wanted to walk us through it.
Yes, I'm walking you through it. I just want to know that we've gotten an understanding of what I'm doing, and I'll walk you through before setting it up. This
So,
is a column
are we?
because it's already set up. Let me show you. This is them asking us to set up a new column, right? Now
Yeah.
let me show you. This is the new column, and I will name this new column next. Adewale, please go ahead and answer your question, so that because I'm looking at time, that's why I'm asking all these questions. This is a new column, and you want this column to be what? According to our SharePoint, what was the first column we had? We have employee phone, right? So since it is employee phone, that means yes, employee phone will come here. The phone number. It's single line of text. I call this employee phone.
Are we going home with the assignment like this week? Is it this week?
No, by next Sunday. What I'm just saying is that if you have to reach out to me for any reason, just feel free to reach out to me. That's what I'm saying. So the next column on our SharePoint is called employee email. So within that employee email, we are going to test again, and within test, you have an email column. It's even easier. I think it's easier than and if you want to make it required, like we didn't talk about enforcing what's it called? Enforcing what's the name now? It's not coming to my head. I can force people to be able to fill out the form a certain way.
Okay.
This is what you can use to force people to fill out. In this case, if you are not filling out the form, if there's no information filled out for this email, that means they will not be able to proceed, something like that. See, and I'm almost creating everything. So it's very simple. Once you are done, you click save and exit. Is there any confusion with it?
No.
Okay. Damola, you wanted to say something, please. Can you go ahead?
No, I said I think Aura has a developer account that she said she will share with me.
Okay.
So
How
I'll
to set it
just
up, right?
sorry?
How to set it up?
No, she said she can share the account with me, so we can just use her account
Okay.
together.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah.
problem. So do we have any confusion so far in this? Can we do this? That's what I want to ask.
Yeah, so the assignment now is to set up a database.
One, that's the first assignment. Second assignment is set up a Power App application. You don't need to do, but set up the database is the hardest. Why? Is because it's something that you need to do by yourself. One click to set up an app, you just need to complete your database. If you just need to complete your database, go to Power App and use that database to create an app. If
Yeah.
you understand it and pull it for you, you don't have to watch our old videos, see all the things that we did. Just apply them. It's good.
Yeah.
That all the assignment is where I think you might have a bit of a problem, but then I don't expect much from it because we have an existing video that you can refer to. Just create the same flow we created with the birthday thing. You might have a problem with setting up the AI prompt because that requires an extra license. But then if you cannot go that far, we can post it to wherever you stop. By Sunday, we'll review and we'll go over to another thing.
For clarity purpose,
Okay.
I think I would appreciate if you just tell us, write it in a
Of course.
sentence,
Of course.
because
I
I
will add it
cannot have access.
I'll send
I
it
don't
to
have
the
access
group.
to this. Okay, I don't have access to this group because anytime I'm not on this meeting, I can't read chat. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm
Oh.
using a personal Teams.
So what
So
access do you have?
sit. I mean, I don't have access to this chat. I saw that I was added to the group, but I cannot read messages or anything.
Oh,
on
so
this,
do you have access
yeah.
to the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I joined
And
yesterday.
then I will add it there. I'll add it there. You'll see
Okay,
the
please. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Winga, you want to say something before we wrap up?
I wanted to say So
All
as
right.
for the Flow, right? My I don't have an Outlook account.
Mhm.
So how do I connect it?
I told you just now that I use the Gmail account to set my own up. You can use any email.
For Outlook, and it's going to work.
Yes.
I've tried it like a couple of times. I've created like a few accounts, but it's not connecting. Like
So what
it's
do you
not
what do you want to do? Just explain to me what you want to do with email.
as I'm just I was not in the previous class and I haven't watched the video. So I'm just
Oh,
for the Flow because I know I'm going to need an Outlook account for the Flow.
for the Flow, if you have access to this, what's it called? This, what's it called? Data set, you already have access to the, the Flow. You just have to type in you don't even need to type it. Once you come here, all the whole Power Platform pops up. This is it here. If I click on it, now it takes me to it. So it's simple. Once you log in, you logged into all of the suites. It's like a collection of applications, right? So if you are now, what the question I thought you were asking is that when you are developing the app, that we're developing the Flow, that the email that we use to send is you require. Look at that. I think
That's what I'm saying. Like each time I
uh,
try, each time I create a Flow and I use my account that I
oh,
created go through.
I understand what you're saying. Now. Sorry for misunderstanding you. Now you need to set up with an Outlook account, yes, because let me explain why you need that. Why is it not? It's not okay. Let me explain why you need that. It's a very good question because some people might also face that problem. Let's get it open, so I'll use that to explain why you need that. Okay. Send an email. Send an email.
Yeah.
This guy is what's it called? An action needed for you to complete sending an email. So understand that you want to send an email now. If you want to use this guy is an Outlook API, a connector, an Outlook connector, right? So
Yeah.
for you to use it, you have to have an Outlook account. It's just like, okay, if you're sending an email, who are you sending the email from? Basically.
Which
So you need to
exactly.
have an Outlook account. This is the what's it called? Microsoft account that you should sign into this guy. So if you did the trial, the one that you paid for, you're definitely going to have an account like this. This one, I already bought the domain name for it, so that's why it's showing a customized domain. But if you pay for the trial own, with the free trial own, you will have something like it, but it will be longer with Microsoft something, right? Which is still good, and you can use it to sign into this guy. Now, there is another action button that you can use for Gmail if you have Gmail.
Okay.
Because this is basically what's it called? Send an email. Go to Gmail, send an email.
Oh,
It's a version of this. It's a version of this. I use this thing because since we are in Outlook, you would want to use the same thing that you're working on. If I'm working on a Google workspace now, I would not want to use an Outlook what's it called? Pad. I want to use something like this. So this is basically the same thing as this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but this is
And
for Google.
right?
This is for Outlook. Huh?
And the Gmail will work, right?
Work. This is you logging into your Gmail. That's what you need to do. Just
All
log
right.
into your Gmail. You see here, it's already logged into my Gmail account.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So you said it should work.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. So can you stop the recording, Benga, please? I want to show this off record. It's something I'm working on personally. I just want to show them so that they can see. Is he online? Benga. Let me try. Oh. Hello. Can you help me to stop this recording?